3, 2, 1.
Namaste. So this is Rajiv, and here is another very important show. We will just wait a few seconds. People are joining in. This is a very exciting show. We did not have notice to plan much in advance because something important happened. So we'll give a few seconds for different people to join us, and different networks that are carrying this also need a little bit of time. So in the meantime, I'm going to silence my phone and request that everybody else should do the same. So थोड़ी देर के बाद I will start. I'll introduce you a very special guest, and you will see why this show is. We broke all our plans and all the deadlines we had and all that to do this on an urgent basis. So namaste everybody. I want to welcome Monika Arora ji, a dear friend of mine and a well-known lawyer in the Indian Supreme Court. So welcome, Monika ji.
Thank you so much.
So I have known you for a long time, and you are a great friend and ally. So अभी जो latest बात हुई है उसके ऊपर बात करते हैं. We'll do English, Hindi both little bit. So अभी जो the book you wrote on the riots this year, and then the publisher Bloomsbury decided to, after the contract and all that, decided not to publish it anymore at the last minute. तो उसके किस्से के बारे में आप पूरी कहानी बताएं कि what happened. What was your contract, how it happened, and why did they do all this?
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Thank you so much for calling me. It's an honor. It's an honor to be with you and be on this show. Rajiv, what happened was in February, riots took place in Delhi, and they took place just 15-20 kilometers from my house. And there was so much of confusion. Who's doing it? What are they doing? Who are the people behind it? Is it sporadic? Is it pre-planned conspiracy? And we, as you know, we cannot sit unless we get the facts right. So we, a group of ladies, it's called Group of Intellectuals and Academicians, GIA. We 5 of us planned that we'll go to those riot-hit areas. We'll go to ground zero. We'll prepare a report and submit our report to the government, just telling them what exact the truth is, what is the report from ground zero, because ground speaks. And let that book, when that will be given to the government, that report, let the facts come in public domain also. So thereafter, we published this report. This was the report which we brought in public domain. We put it in social media. We gave it to the government after doing a thorough research at ground zero. And this report says that it was a pre-planned conspiracy. Now, once this report was out, people read this report. People said, Monika ji, why don't you bring this report in form of a book? Thereafter, I think in May, we had a contract with Bloomsbury. And thereafter, we have brought this report in public domain. Now, what happened was, in May, we had a contract with Bloomsbury. How we had a contract? We approached a number of publishers, please publish our book. Bloomsbury said, all right, we'll publish your book. There was a proper contract after they got our draft. They scrutinized our draft. They said some changes here and there. They convinced us, we convinced them. Ultimately, their legal team vetted it. The legal team scrutinized it. And then the contract was signed. They became our publishers. And after, I think, May, June, July, August, these 4 months of emails, SMSs, WhatsApp, all of them we have. And then they published our book after legal scrutiny. They gave us 100 copies. They said, give these copies to whomever you want. You understand, sir, because you have been publishing so many books. And we gave these books to those people who we wanted. Please do some review on this. Please give some comment on this. You may like it, you may dislike it, but please say something about it. So thereafter, we planned our launch function. Now, 20th of October, we put our e-card in the public domain. Nobody objected to it. We had a guest list there on the card. Nobody objected to it. No official communication that anybody objects to it. What happened was at 4 o'clock, we were just entering our video conference link for the grand book launch. We were so happy that our book is coming. And 3:30, we get a call from Bloomsbury, ma'am, and these were their words. Ma'am, some jokers sitting in some countries, and they have been tweeting and tagging Bloomsbury UK, and Bloomsbury UK is under tremendous pressure. They're asking us to withdraw. I said, but you stand by your authors in the book. They said, ma'am, we stand by every word of this book because it has been legally approved by us. There is no objectionable word in this book. We stand by you. We're trying to convince them, but they're not getting convinced, ma'am. This is what they said. And ultimately, they told us, ma'am, under the pressure of these jokers who pressurized Bloomsbury UK, we have no option but to withdraw. I said, I don't know what withdraw means. It's a baby, you know. We wrote it and you published it. It's a baby. How can you abort your baby who has just been, you know, brought into existence? How can you abort this baby? Ma'am, sorry, maybe even our jobs are not secure here now because they are under so much of international pressure to withdraw from this book. And then they put down the phone and they said, we are withdrawing. Now, publicly, they tweeted twice. We don't know what their tweets were. People retweeted and then we came to know. First tweet was, we don't approve of the guest list in the launch function. Second was that we stand by our book and the authors. This was one tweet. Thereafter, we said, fine, a person may agree, may not agree with the guest list, but they never objected to it. It's okay. And as it is, this function was not their function. It was done by a group of intellectuals and academicians, GIA, a registered organization. And they may come, they may not come, but they cannot own their book. So first tweet was, we stand by our writers and our book. Fair enough. But thereafter, their tweet came, which was given to some news laundry, some online portal. And they said that they are withdrawing from it. Now we were left high and dry. Here was the launch function going on. People were having the launch function. They were listening to us. All the speeches were being made. The book was being launched. And suddenly the publisher runs away, leaving us, you know, nowhere. And then people started tweeting that this has become Amazon #1 bestseller. It became the bestseller book in India. People made that screenshot and they started tweeting it to us. And, you know, this whirlwind was happening around us and we didn't know what to do. And so thereafter, now people started tweeting that from Amazon, this book has been removed. The link has been removed. Now, here are the people who want to buy the book, who want to place a pre-order on the book, who want to read the book. And here's the publisher who withdraws it publicly, who runs away, who removes the link also so that the people cannot place their orders. And here are we, as authors, we felt cheated. So they have been our publishers. We had a wonderful relationship with everybody. Not one time we had any acrimony stuff. We are reasonable. They were reasonable. It was such a beautiful, pious, professional relationship. They have always stood by our book. But because of Bloomsbury UK pressure, in turn pressurized by some lobby, and God knows what kind of a lobby it is. You see, this ecosystem, if I can say so, they have been coming out on social media and saying, we did it, we did it, we did it. We banned the book. Now, they themselves are saying we banned the book. So people, it's in public domain. One, some Bollywood actress, Swara Bhaskar. One, some journalist who's now no longer a journalist. She's going somewhere to teach, Nidhi Rajasthan. One, some Atish. One, some Will. They're all sitting at different places. One, some Saket. They all are saying, oh, are you pressurizing Bloomsbury? And Will says, yes, I'm on it. I'm on it. They're doing it. I generally don't take names. I don't like it. But they have been tweeting. And they have been tweeting Bloomsbury and telling their followers to retweet them. And telling them put pressure on Bloomsbury to withdraw a book which they have not read.
And just to tell my viewers, Will is the Will Dalrymple. He is the famous person who directs the Jaipur Literary Festival, a man from Scotland who spends a lot of his time living in India. And I don't know if this is a fact, but some articles came out that his great-grandfather worked in the East India Company. So, you know, a man with those kind of credentials, but very deeply involved in the Indology and study of India with a certain ideological point of view, connected with this, you know, Breaking India forces and Hindu-phobic forces. is involved. Riddhi Razdan also. I don't know why she's upset with me, but every time I do something, she attack me also. And all the same old cabal, same old, same old people. I've been, known these guys for like 30 years now, because even before they made all these organizations, we've had various exchanges. I had to be reasonable with them, that let's have a one-on-one, let's have a public discussion where we're both able to speak. So tell me one thing, that when the publisher got pressure, which you described, did the publisher give you a chance to explain? What did they say, here is our problem, and give an answer?
Sir, not an email till date.
My God.
Till date, after 2.5 days of publicly withdrawal from our book, when practically the book got killed, not till date, they have told us that they have terminated the contract, they have abandoned or resigned in the contract, they have gone back on the contract, they have done nothing till date. So I remember this book function was, I think, on 23rd or so, 22nd or 23rd. So next day, we emailed them, sir. We emailed them a long letter. We said that it's 24 hours and we are still waiting. You are still our publisher. You have not given us one line by email communication that, are you still with us? Are you not with us? Are you still our publisher? Can you go with somebody else? All our copyrights, all our intellectual property rights, everything is with you. The book is getting killed. It's 24 hours. You have not responded. At least one line from you that you are terminating the contract. Is this how you will treat any other author in the world? Brown lives also matter, sir.
Yes. So Monika ji, regarding their issue, which is an excuse, okay, you did not get their permission to have certain guests and all this at this launch. Let me tell you, as an author, I'm not sure what it says in your contract, but in my contract, there is no provision that I as an author must get their permission whenever I'm promoting my book. My book becomes, the moment one copy is printed, it becomes public domain, as your book became public domain because they gave you 100 copies to go give it to people. So it is for the public to get together, to organize panels, to agree with it, disagree with it, discuss it. It is entirely your right to do whatever you want. So that is actually a very foolish excuse they're giving, which will kind of blow up in their face, that they are telling an author that the author cannot go and promote his own book. This is very stupid of them.
So they were not promoting our book.
Yes.
There was a function organized by a private organization.
And you
private organization had a guest list. If
Yes.
they had an objection, because they had the card, who all are coming. If they had an objection, so one line on email, official one line, that we have an objection to your guest list. One line, sir. This courtesy, is it too much to ask for? One line that we don't approve of our guest list, please change it. They may have convinced us. We may have convinced them. Maybe we would have changed. Maybe we would have retained. But at least talk. At least communicate. Because Bloomsbury India never had a problem with any launch or any guest list. It was only after a few people tweeted Bloomsbury UK that they pressurized Bloomsbury India to withdraw from the book.
And I know many Bloomsbury authors in India, who are Hindu, Dharmic, and publish their books. And many of the same people on your guest list have also been guest lists of theirs. So it's not like they can prove there's somebody so dangerous is on your guest list that they have to ban your whole book, block your whole book because of that. It's a silly excuse they gave. The real reason is under pressure they did it. And so if we come to the heart of the issue, the pressure was applied to the headquarters in Britain. And the people in Britain told the managing director, Rajiv Malhotra, that, hey, listen, withdraw this book. And he just did it without putting up a fight because he's sort of a knocker and they are the boss. And so they said it and he agreed. This is the colonized Indian mind. This is the colonized Indian mind.
Actually, so I think this minority controls the publications.
Yes.
They say this is a golf club.
Yes.
They say only we, the elites, will be allowed here to publish. Sir.
Right.
We commoners cannot enter their club. And that's why they threaten the publishers. How dare you have such common people, who don't belong to some XYZ family. They are outside the golf club. How can they go with you and publish Bloomsbury? How could you say yes to them? So this is that वो enlightenment कहते हैं जिसको, that was that. कि नहीं ये enlightened club है, golf club है हमारा, ये commoners, how can they enter this club? And so look at their hypocrisy. 1 month ago, they have published, Bloomsbury has published a book on Shaheen Bagh. And I am told, sir, the authors and the book, they claim that Tahir Hussain is innocent. I have not read the book, but the authors and the book claims that Tahir Hussain is innocent. So Tahir Hussain is charged with Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which is a very, very stringent law in India, sir. And he's in jail right now. He's in prison. And he is charged with the death and murder of Intelligence Bureau officer Ankit Hussain, that he was brutally murdered. The videos of Tahir Hussein's house are there, that in the rioting which is happening, Tahir Hussain and all the rioters are there on his rooftop supervising the riots. All these things are in public domain. Nobody lynched them. Nobody told Bloomsbury, how dare you publish a book on Shaheen Bagh. So this is India. This is us.
Basically, for my viewers, the book on the opposing side of the riots, who are the culprits in the riots, who are the people who actually created the riots, a book making heroes out of them was published by Bloomsbury. But her side of it, giving the other side of the story, saying these are the facts, and she's a lawyer. Those other guys who wrote these books are not at all at her stature. She's an eminent lawyer. She looks at things very diligently. I know her work, very rigorous, very precise. So she's giving this evidence and giving an alternative point of view. And this book then gets stopped. So this is the injustice. Firstly, there is injustice in the due process of Bloomsbury, the way they kind of violated their own confidence in the breach of contract and acting in bad faith and making a big tamasha and mockery out of their own contract. Second is the substance of the matter, that the opposing point of view, which was published by the same publisher, but your view was not. So should we discuss a little bit about what are the main points in the book?
Yes, sir. So when we went to ground zero, this is ground zero report. So this is not this point of view or that point of view. Whatever the ground spoke, so ground bolta hai. Jahan danga hota hai, wo zameen bolti hai. The ground spoke, sir. We never thought what we are going to write. We never went with a predetermined mind. We met the victims, sir. Somebody's father has been killed in the riots. Somebody's son has been killed. We met Preeti Garg, sir, a lady who has small children, I think 9 years old and 11-year-old, 2 boys, sir. Her house was burned and she was cooking on the first floor. She saw from the balcony that people were running because entire lane, the houses were burned by these jihadi mob. And so that time she told the neighbors who were also running, she said, please, I'm throwing my kids from the first floor. Will you catch my kids? She threw her 11-year, 7-year, 9 to 11 ke beach ke babies. Hai. So she threw her one son, then the other son from the first floor of her house. The neighbors, they caught hold of those sons and they were saved. These are the stories we are telling in our book. We met all these people. We have video recordings. We photographed them. We interviewed them. This ground reporting we are telling in our book, sir. It is not prejudice. Not one word is false. Otherwise, Bloomsbury would have scrutinized it thoroughly. They gave it to the legal department. They vetted it, scrutinized it. After legally clearing, this book was okayed. Bloomsbury will not do it if there was anything objectionable, anything anti-minority. There is nothing. We all are reasonable people. And tell me, sir, one more thing. How can these people on Twitter, this ecosystem, the golf club of publishing houses, they have not read the book. The book has not come in the market. Without even reading the book, they'll threaten the publisher to withdraw. They will threaten us, the authors. They will threaten the entire, Indian community, that how dare this book is coming in the market? Dare you buy it?
So that's another interesting point.
Threaten everybody.
So that's another interesting point. A judgment on the book by people who have not read it. That's exactly. A very interesting point. The whole ecosystem that is precious.
These writers have not read it. These authors have not read it. They are the so-called intelligentsia, sir, who have not read it.
Champions of intellectual freedom, champions of free speech.
Actually,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so when I'll tell you, sir, one more thing. So nowadays there's a case going on. We all know about it. A senior lawyer in Supreme Court is saying all wrong things and attacking, verbal attack on Supreme Court judges is there. So this entire ecosystem is standing by that lawyer and saying this is his freedom of speech. So we say not a word which is wrong in this book. At least read our book, go through it, give critical views. You may like it, you may dump it. It's your prerogative. It's democracy. We are not in Pakistan, China, or some Saudi country, sir.
So you know
We can't have little fatwas on our book.
Right. So what Rajiv Berry, the head of Bloomsbury India, should have said to his boss in England is that we published the opposing point of view. Now we're publishing her point of view, and in the spirit of freedom of press and so on, we should get both books out there. Let there be a debate. Let people decide this is right or that is right. And if people have any objection to Monika Arora's book, then let them raise the objection. Let her come on a panel and defend it. I mean, you would have been very happy to argue if somebody had issues with your book. They should have. A good publisher would have done that. And then they would have made it into both books could have been very big sellers, and they could have had a nice, friendly, amicable debate on different points of view. But they didn't do any of that. This is a very big, to me, this is a disgrace. This is a real disgrace. And I think the matter should not just end here. The matter should be pursued further.
Yes, sir. It is criminal breach of trust.
Yes.
It is violation of contract. It is breach of contract. It is unprofessional behavior. It's unethical behavior. My publishers acted as social activists, pressurized by social activists. So at least one line to us that, Monika, please change the guest list. Maybe I would have changed. And so launch program is different. The book is different. You may or may not agree. You may or may not come in the launch program. But how can you disown the book which you have published under a contract? You can't do it.
So, and also there is a whole issue of damages, because it's not, you've suffered. I mean, you've suffered agony, you've suffered embarrassment, they've attacked you, all kind of people after you and all that. And so it is a huge setback. And also, when the public wants to buy, they've been told here is a link on Amazon or wherever, and you buy, and then suddenly the link disappears. And you've not been given any notice. It's a pretty big setback. So I think this is definitely bad news. Now I want to also tell you that Dalrymple, who runs the Will as he's called, runs this Jaipur Literary Festival, and he's publicly on his Twitter championing that, hey, okay, I'm on this case and I'm going to have this book blocked and all that. So it means that for a certain period of time, some of these people are publicly on Twitter, and that those snapshots of Twitter, who did what, is also probably somebody has taken those snapshots. So there was a whole ecosystem, as you called it, a whole ecosystem behind the scenes, lobbying to harm you and harm your book and suppress freedom of press and intellectual freedom, and then using the British headquarters to convince them, against you. No due process in India, as if India doesn't count, as if an international cabal can do this damage to eminent writers and scholars in India without any due process in India. Then you just will find out when your book has disappeared, but we're not even bothered to ask you or to tell you, to give you a notice, to tell you what was wrong. And even till today, after the event has happened some days back, they haven't even had the courtesy to send you a letter telling you what's happened.
Actually, sir. So they dumped us. They dumped us. They dumped the books. I'm sorry to say, but sir, it amounted to killing of the book. People wanted to buy the book. It was Amazon bestseller, sir. And people were trying to place the orders. They removed the link. Until date, they never told us they have removed the link of our books, sir. And 2 days they have not responded. One letter came yesterday from them saying we are in receipt of your email, and we are talking to our senior people. We will reply. So they said it was Sunday, so we could not reply. So on Saturday or holiday, they could withdraw from our book, but till Sunday they did not reply because it was a holiday and they could not tell us that they are terminating the contract. So actually, it's a loss of face for them. They don't know what's happening. The fact remains that due to international pressure, they caved in, sir. They
So you know
prove
what?
to be very, very afraid of some Goras, sir, living in UK.
Because some
And
Gora-
they will decide that which Indian will read which books, sir. This
right.
shows from their conduct.
It is as if we are colonized. So I have reached out to Rajiv Bailey, whom I've met. He's a nice guy, nice gentleman. He wanted me to give them some of my books to publish. This was like 2-3 years ago. And I met him. We had a very amicable relationship. So I'm hoping that he will respond to my request that he should come on my show and he should tell me the internal stuff, what happened. He should explain for himself that he's the man. The buck stops here because he's the MD of the organization. You signed the contract with Bloomsbury, India, and he's the head of that, and the buck stops with him. And so I said, why don't you come and whatever you want to say, tell us. People should know. And he hasn't responded. So I don't know whether he will or not, but my forum is open for him to come and explain. I've also sent a message via a mutual friend to Will, that, hey, Will, we've had problems in the past, but here is an issue that is nothing to do with me, but it has to do with freedom of press. I'm sure you believe in it. And it has to do with the integrity of India and our culture. And a story should have multiple sides that are represented. So if you want to come and speak, totally uncensored, I'll let you speak whatever you want to. You're most welcome. I haven't heard from him also. So I think I'm hoping these guys will show up, and I hope they're not on the run and trying to, hope that this matter will go away in a few days. I don't think this matter will go away in a few days. I think that this is a very serious matter, and it's going to go further in terms of maybe litigation or certainly a lot of public pressure. What are your thoughts? What do you, if this happened to me, and I will tell my kissa also in a moment, but if I came to you and said, Monika ji, kya kiya jaye, what would you advise a client? They should not just keep quiet.
So if I was your lawyer, I would have hit them back.
Right.
But I am here not as a lawyer, but as an author.
Yes.
So I have worked going to riot hit areas.
Yes.
I've spent my time and energy and with a passion and for the service of truth. I wanted to take the truth out and put it in public domain for everybody to see. Right. So if you see all my videos, all my writings, I always try to place the facts and law in public domain and let the people decide thereafter. So I'm nobody to, coax them into one opinion or the other. I just try to place the facts and law, let the people decide. So the facts we have placed in this book, you could have decided this way or that way, sir. And so one thing more, I was listening to you very passionately, and actually what you were saying was from heart, sir. So similarly, sir, we never had a problem with Bloomsbury India, never. It was such a beautiful relationship of author and publisher. So we were reasonable, they were reasonable till the last date. Maybe they fought for us. I can say that, sir. Till the last day, they would have fought for us. In fact, I told them, I said, you are India's ambassador. You have to tell those guys in UK, you being India's ambassador, nothing is wrong in the book. They said, ma'am, we stand by you, we stand by the book. Everything is correct, we approve it. But what to do, ma'am? This Twitter people and Bloomsbury is succumbing to their pressure, Bloomsbury UK. The problem came from England, sir, not from India.
So I'll tell you my kissa. Okay.
Yes.
I had a book, The Battle for Sanskrit, coming out from HarperCollins, also owned by British headquarters. And before the book came out, one guy who was really against me, he's still against me. I don't know why. I wish we could make our peace and move on. But he's an evangelist. He works in a seminary. So he started one big kissa against me and whatnot, accusing me of all kind of false things. And then, then what happened is he started tagging HarperCollins India and Karthika, who was the head of, who was at that time the head of it, and various people, individual email tags, email handles of people to embarrass them, constantly saying that, oh, you are guilty because you are supporting this guy, kind of, slandering me and associating them guilt by association so that they would withdraw the book. So they got very nervous. They got very nervous. But I must say, they contacted me and gave me a chance, and we fought successfully. So they said to me, this is what has happened. What do we do? So I said, firstly, don't keep responding to them in social media. That is not the forum, because you're encouraging these guys. They think they've got you on their forum, and they'll go hit out and all that. And our people always get very confused, and especially, and it was a Gora sitting in USA who was leading the fight. So the brown skinned people get very nervous कि वो Gora है, हम क्या करेंगे, as if he is some kind of a god, you know. So I basically said to them that you have to follow the rules, follow the laws. If he says there is some violation, then you tell me, give me a list, and I will prove it to you. So I actually gave them a huge amount of supplemental material, this procedure went back and forth. They then took my material and they sent it to three reviewers, blind, I don't know who they were, reviewed. And apparently all of them, according to what I heard later, said this is a very good book. There's nothing wrong with it. What is wrong with it? They then said, the one fellow who was extra careful, and he was very skeptical inside HarperCollins. Kartika was very fair person, very straightforward person. I mean, he's no longer with them. She's in a different publishing house. But she was pretty straight and wanted to figure out what's the right thing to do. But this other fellow who worked under her was always skeptical about me and not necessarily. So he said, "Ki England bhej dete hain. Let England people decide," as if they are God, you know. So they sent my entire thing to England, along with my response and along with the three reviewers. They sent it to the English people. It sat there for a month and a half. फिर वहां से भी issues आए, problem, questions for further clarification, which I answered. And then came this thing that, okay, it is ready, we are going to launch it. So this process delayed me 6 months, but it was a moral victory that, you know, even these big, huge gang that wanted to get rid of my book were not successful. And I thank Kartika for playing the role, because she stood her neck out, and she was strong, and she was a person with integrity. I would like Rajiv Berry of Bloomsbury to play that role. I mean, now it's too late because he can't salvage what he has done, but he can certainly come out with the truth. And he can say, this is exactly what happened, clear himself. And it would be very nice, because he's a good man. I met him, he seems like a decent fellow, and maybe he just got overwhelmed and got into too much pressure, and so he succumbed. But ये dangerous बात है, ये जो colonial control है हमारे ऊपर, हमारे गले के ऊपर colonial control है, ये अभी तक है. और ये हमारे लोगों का inferiority complex है. Our people have this complex that, hey, we can't stand up to these Goras, but that is, we have to defy. I mean, if there is injustice against your culture, against your own authors, against your own civilization, against our narratives, then, we have to speak up.
So look how India is standing this time. So when they publicly announced that they are withdrawing, people started saying, Monika ji, self-publish. Go with this publisher, that publisher. Publishers pitched in. They said, we are ready to publish your book. So we had no publisher with us at that time.
So I advised Sankrant, because, Sankrant, for 25 years, 25 years ago, he started his whole activism with Infinity Foundation. हमारा कोई problem हुआ था, which resulted in this book, Invading the Sacred. वो हमारी पहली book थी about Wendy Doniger. Now, उसके किस्से में भी आपने role किया था, the case किया था. We'll come and discuss that also momentarily. But he came and he was helping out, he was volunteering, helping us out, and that's how he got into this whole thing. So always I've been telling him ke, जाके कुछ अपना शुरू करो, alternative शुरू करो. So I encourage him ke you take whatever Monika Arora wants, you take it. This is the chance of a lifetime. Do this deal and you will not regret it. So I'm happy he did it.
I'm so happy, sir. You people talked, both of you talked. I didn't know about this. Yes. I didn't know. So, but when we put it on Twitter, that we have no publisher, what to do, where to go, we were just, three ladies and waiting, professor and lawyer. We were waiting with no publisher. Amazon #1 book, but there were no place where they could book the book. So what to do? Then people started reacting. Sir. People said, Monika ji, self-publish. Monika ji, we are there to publish for you. So the entire country rose. Oh my God. And so Gowda came, and so in one night we sold 15,000 copies of this book. One night.